Chapter 2 is all about defining your avatar to understand who is it that you're actually trying to talk to. Now, the biggest mistake us real estate agents make when we first get into business is we're willing to work for anyone, everyone, anywhere, as long as it's business. We're hungry. I understand that. I went through the exact same when I first got into business. However, I want you to picture as a brand new agent in your little rowboat in a big blue ocean trying to find a place to go fishing. That's the wrong way to focus about it. I want you to identify who it is that you're trying to work for. It's like fishing in a smaller pond, but having a higher chance of finding those fish. When you know exactly who you're serving, you're gonna create your message specifically to them, you're gonna create your system specifically to them, and it's gonna make you more intentional. Do not be reactive. This is all about being intentional and focusing on identifying who it is you're trying to work for. Let's define your ideal customer and craft a message that's gonna speak to her. So an example, imagine a real estate agent willing to go anywhere and everywhere for a client. Somebody calls you 3 hours away and you're saying, yeah, sure, let me jump in a car and come over. That doesn't make sense. It's not a sustainable business model. Having a generic ad, your go-to real estate agent for all your real estate needs, whether it's residential, commercial, investment, new builds, and you're just willing to take on anyone and everyone. Yeah, you're gonna generate leads. You're gonna get people reaching out to you, but they're not gonna be very motivated. They're probably not gonna go anywhere. It's not gonna be very solid leads that you're generating. However, while they attract some leads, they're not gonna be qualified, they're gonna be frustrating, and you're gonna end up spinning your wheels and actually losing out on more opportunity to actually find proper business. One day the agent's gonna realize, hey, I've been spreading myself too thin. I need to localize my messages. Now, the biggest piece of advice I can give any real estate agent is you have to find a geographical limit. You shouldn't be driving out 2 hours outside your market because first and foremost, that's a waste of your time. But secondly, and most importantly, you're not actually going to be meeting your client's needs to the best of your ability. You should be focusing on areas that you specialize in to be able to give your client the best service possible. So one of the things that we do is we identify the past transactions that you have had. Which ones were the most successful ones? You might start noticing a trend that, hey, you know what? I'm really doing well with first-time buyers. Or, you know what? My last 5 deals were with elderly people who are downsizing. It doesn't matter. Everyone's gonna find their own niche. But the riches are in the niches. Now, when you're starting out, I'm not telling you to hone in a message and ignore everybody else. However, it is extremely important for you to identify who it is that you're trying to create your messaging for, your marketing, and how you're gonna spend your time finding that business. Now, you're gonna find other leads coming in, and as long as they meet your geographic areas and the things that you can actually help them, go ahead and do it, but focus on identifying a specific segment before you go out there trying to find just anyone to service. You're gonna create specific marketing, your social media is gonna start talking to them specifically. At the end of the day, you don't wanna talk to 10,000 different people who all have different wants and needs. You're gonna wanna talk to maybe 1,000 people or even 100 people that all have the same specific need. Defining your avatar is like fishing. It's like, are you going to fish in a great blue ocean in your little rowboat, or are you going to identify which pond you should be going to? I can guarantee you, you're going to have a lot more success going to a specific location, knowing where the specific clientele is going to be. When you cast your line intentionally in the specific areas, you're going to have a lot more success than you would just haphazardly throwing out there and seeing what sticks. Now, some of the steps to help you identify your perfect real estate client avatar. I want you to break it down into 3 specific categories. Number 1, demographic. Age. How old are they? Are they first-time entry? Are they downsizers? Are they people who are upsizing because their family is growing? Location. Where do they currently live? Where do they want to move to? Income levels. Are they seeking luxury properties? Are they looking to buy investments? Or are they first-time buyers? Occupation. Are they remote workers? Do they commute? Do they want to be close to the transit? Next up is psychographics. What are some of their interests? Some of their challenges that they may be facing? Every different type of client is going to have different pain points. Are they concerned about being close to specific school districts, commuting, whatever it may be? It's all up to you to define and identify those pain points. What are some of their goals? Again, if they're a first-time buyer, they just want to get their foot on the property ladder. If they're downsizers, they need somebody that's going to help them facilitate a seamless sale, getting rid of all their clutter. If they're in their mid-range of their journey, they'll maybe be looking to invest and grow their wealth. And third, behavioral traits. What are their buying habits? What are their preferred communication channels? What's their spending capacity, and how are you going to find them? And how are you going to communicate with them? To make this personal, I want you to think about your ideal avatar. What are their pain points? What are the things that keep them up at night? What are the things that they need most help with? Because at the end of the day, our goal is to help people solve their biggest pain points. What do they desire the most? What motivates them? What are they looking for? What do they need help with? These are all questions that nobody can answer but you have to spend time identifying these before you can move on to the next chapters. How do they search for their properties? Are they on realtor.ca, or are they going to reach out to a real estate agent to help them from the very beginning? Every single demographic or type of client is going to have a different answer. Now, once you've defined your avatar, I want you to start figuring out how to define your value proposition. What sets you apart from the competition? It's not going to be your cookie cutter response of, I'm going to give you great service. It has to be something you can define of how are you going to address their specific pain points and how are you going to help them solve it. Now, if it's a first-time buyer, you're going to help educate them on mortgages, on financing. You might have a team, a home inspector, a mortgage broker, or what have you. If it's somebody who's downsizing, you're going to make sure you've got a decluttering expert who's going to help them move all their stuff. If it's a luxury client, you're going to be able to make sure that you've got staging opportunities, whatever it may be. Everyone's going to be different in specific markets and specific demographics, but you need to identify it so you can really craft a perfect value proposition that's going to speak to your avatar. So when we define what the problem is, how are you specifically helping them solve their problems? Because at the end of the day, guys, we're not just here to help somebody buy and sell a problem. We're here to help them solve their problems. That is the key. And then most importantly, differentiation. Every market you're in, whether you're in Canada or United States, has thousands of real estate agents. You have to do this so you can differentiate yourself for your specific niche. So one thing I noticed was I was really having some traction with elderly clients. I would help them with decluttering. I would help them through the entire process, and my goal was to make it as seamless as possible. And as I started getting more traction, I started getting reviews and testimonials, and referrals started coming in. But this didn't happen until I intentionally started focusing my time and effort in speaking to elderly people. My area that I was farming was more so an older area where most of the owners had been living there for 20, 30, and even 40 years. But I didn't realize this until I started making a concerted effort to identify who's my avatar. A majority of my marketing actually started to shift specifically to those areas because I realized most of my costs were for different types of buyers and I wasn't getting an ROI that I was happy with. So for this chapter, we have a way to help you identify who your custom avatar is going to be. So make sure you download the sheet, and we're going to go through the following steps to help you identify who your perfect avatar is going to be. Now, to make this process easy for you, I've created two powerful tools. First, we've got the custom avatar template, a fillable PDF. This is where we're going to outline the demographics of your avatar, their age, location, income, their psychographics, their goals, challenges, and values, and their behavioral traits, buying habits, spending capacity, and preferred communication channels. We're also going to be talking about their key insights, what motivates and frustrates them. Next up, we've got the Value Proposition Builder, a simple framework. I help specific target audience achieve desired results by providing unique solution. This includes guiding questions like, who do you serve? What problems do you solve? And how does your solution stand out? Now, bonus resources I've included is a checklist, a guide to conducting client interviews or surveys to help you refine your avatar, as well as examples and a library of strong real estate value propositions for inspirations. So now's the time to take control of your business. Use the customer avatar, create a value proposition, and test it on your network. This is something that's going to be fluid. You're going to consistently work on this and keep implementing it. Now, we're going to learn more about it later on, but as you create your business plan and as you execute your campaigns quarterly, this is something you're going to be revisiting to make sure that you're staying consistent with your messaging. So I want you to take a minute, just pause this for a second and identify who is your ideal avatar. Who do you enjoy working with? Who have you had really successful experiences with representing recently? So now that we've identified who our custom avatar is and what our value proposition is, we're going to move on to the next chapter. I'll see you there.